What's up everyone, I'm Dan and thanks to Qbyte Interactive for the review code. I'll be looking at Mars 2120 on the Nintendo Switch. Mars 2120 is a Metroidvania title and it presents a compelling sci-fi narrative set on the Red Planet. The game takes inspiration from the iconic Metroid series, particularly Metroid Dread, blending exploration, combat and puzzle solving in a futuristic Martian colony. However, while Mars 2120 attempts to carve out its own niche within the genre, it struggles with several issues that prevent it from standing out in a crowded Metroidvania space. Set in the 22nd century, Mars 2120 casts you as Anna, tasked with investigating the mysterious silence of Mars's first human colony. The premise is intriguing and the game sets up a world ripe for exploration and discovery. Unfortunately, the narrative doesn't quite live up to its potential. There are no significant story beats or character development beyond the initial setup. The bulk of the narrative is developed through audio logs scattered throughout the colony, which, while providing some background, fail to create a compelling or engaging story. The lack of a strong narrative thread leaves much to be desired, especially in a genre where world building and storytelling are often key components. I often found myself finding logs but just not caring about what was being said, as there was really nothing to attach any emotions to. As a Metroidvania, Mars 2120 checks all the boxes expected of the genre. You will explore the colony, uncovering new areas that are initially inaccessible until you acquire specific upgrades. These upgrades are tied to elemental abilities such as electricity, ice and fire, each offering unique ways to interact with the environment and defeat enemies. For example, the electric ability allows you to phase through electrical barriers, power machinery and navigate through conduits, while ice and fire abilities provide distinct combat advantages and puzzle solving tools. The gameplay is solid but lacks polish. The control scheme is straightforward. The D-pad or left stick controls movement, while the right stick is used for aiming. Combat involves a mix of melee and ranged shooting, supplemented by an evasive role. However, the combat can feel cumbersome, particularly during boss fights where precision is the key. The melee attack is useful but doesn't always feel responsive, and switching between elemental abilities can be a bit clunky in the heat of battle. Speaking of boss fights, the uneven difficulty of boss fights, some of which drag on due to overly long health bars rather than challenging mechanics, can make the pacing of the game feel disjointed rather than a fluid action experience. One of the game's more frustrating aspects is its progression system. Experience points are earned by defeating enemies, which can then be used to unlock new abilities at designated save points. However, the game requires you to find specific ability upgrades scattered throughout the colony before you can spend these points, leading to a disjointed progression experience. This dual system of finding upgrades and then purchasing them feels unnecessary and adds an extra layer of tedium to the game. Visually, this one is a mixed bag. The game has moments where it shines, particularly with some well-designed enemy models. However, these moments are overshadowed by the game's overall lack of visual polish. Textures are often grainy and fuzzy, with close-up shots revealing significant flaws, particularly in character models and environmental details. The visuals simply don't live up to the standards set by other titles on the Switch, which is disappointing given the potential of the setting. Performance issues further detract from the experience. The game suffers from frequent and lengthy load screens that disrupt the flow of gameplay. These interruptions are especially frustrating given how often they occur, making exploration feel again disjointed and sluggish. Additionally, there are occasional frame rate drops and stuttering, particularly in more graphically intense scenes or when multiple enemies are on the screen. These technical issues, combined with the game's already lackluster visuals, make for a less than immersive experience. One area where Mars 2120 deserves credit is in its accessibility features. The game includes a color blindness mode, which is a thoughtful addition for players with visual impairments. The option to adjust font sizes is also welcome, ensuring that the game can be enjoyed by a broader audience. These small but significant features are a step in the right direction and should be commended, even if the overall game falls short in other areas. The audio design in Mars 2120 is competent but unremarkable. The soundtrack is serviceable, providing an appropriate atmosphere for the Martian setting, but it lacks memorable tracks that stick with you after the game is turned off. During intense moments such as boss fights, the music fails to elevate the action, often feeling subdued or out of sync with what's happening on screen. The voice acting, limited to audio logs, is passable, but does little to add depth to the characters or the story. Overall, the audio serves its purpose but doesn't enhance the experience in a meaningful way. Mars 2120 is a game that to me looked like it borrowed a lot of ideas from Metroid Dread, and that to me seemed like a good thing. It has a lot of potential, but it ultimately falls short of delivering a memorable Metroidvania experience. The gameplay is solid but uninspired, with controls that, while functional, never quite reach the level of precision and fluidity found in the best games of the genre. The visuals are serviceable at best, marred by fuzzy textures and performance issues, and the narrative fails to capitalize on the intriguing setting of the Mars colony. While it isn't a bad game, it's not the best either. It sits squarely in the realm of mediocrity, a decent but forgettable entry in a genre crowded by far better options. If you're a die-hard Metroidvania fan and you find it on sale, Mars 2120 might be worth a look. However, for most players, there are other titles on the Switch that offer a more polished, engaging and rewarding experience. Mars 2120 is out now on the Nintendo eShop, priced at $17.99 in the UK and $19.99 in the US. Have you played it yet, and what do you think about this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and until next time.